We're here with Ambassador Young. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and you were a friend and colleague of Dr. King. Could you talk about what it was like to work with him?
Well, I tell you what, Martin Luther King was 26 to 39 when I knew him. Kabir and I wrote a book together. Kabir's 27. A bright, young, fun-loving man. Very smart, always telling jokes, teasing people. Just the kind of person you'd love to be around. And he would even make jokes about his death, because from the time he became the head of the Montgomery Improvement Association, the first year his home was bombed, the next year he was stabbed, the year after that he was thrown in jail and taken on a midnight ride for 8 hours to get to a state prison where he was in chains with nothing in the back there but a police dog. And all this was before he was 30 years old. And so he knew that any day could be his last. And so he said, you have to live like each day is your last. And if there's anything you want to do it now, don't put it off. And I think that to get us to see that, he would tease us into it. He said, now I know my day is coming soon, but you're not going to be long behind me. So, in fact, you might step in front of me to get your picture taken and take a bullet for me. But don't worry, I'll preach the best funeral you ever heard. So, and he'd start preaching your funeral, talking about all of the embarrassing things you'd never want said in church. And he just had a way of making even the most serious moments, instead of scary, they became joyful.
Can you talk a little bit about what he achieved and the significance of that today?
Yeah, well, I tell you, the main thing that he achieved was that we changed the entire South and much of the world without killing anybody. And the message is one of nonviolence. I mean, nobody would have believed that we would have gotten through the Cold War and that the Berlin Wall would have come down without some kind of warfare. But when Berlin Wall came down, they were singing "We Shall Overcome." When Nelson Mandela got out of jail, it was not with violence, it was with nonviolence and negotiations that really we helped to start in the Carter administration, which was a direct result of the relationship with Martin Luther King. And in terms of racism, war, and poverty, we made some significant strides in racism and war, but poverty is where we now have trouble. And when Kabir talked about leaving the bank to go into politics, I said no, because banks and the people with the money are the ones, the problems we have, the human rights problems, all have an economic component. And if we don't deal with them from the perspective of the economy, they're never going to get dealt. So that's the reason I encouraged him to stay with J.P. Morgan. And the book that we wrote together is our arguments back and forth about why. And the interesting thing is, he's a banker talking for politics, and I'm a politician talking for banking. But we're 50 years apart, and so it's a young man and one of the elders, except sometimes I think I'm younger than him. He has some kind of old-fashioned ideas about some things.
So the book is called Walk in My Shoes. Yeah. Can you tell me how you guys came to that title?
Well, I don't like the title. I said I wish it would be Think Up and Man Up.
So he came up with the title?
No, the publisher came up with the title.
Okay.
And neither of us particularly liked it, but these are conversations that we had, never thinking that they'd be published. And so I just said whatever was on my mind. And sometimes it's rather fresh and flip and raunchy, but it's the way I look at life.
So the book delves into sort of politics and economics, but...
Politics and economics, but also we had a long thing on how you find the right woman.
Okay.
And his parents want to arrange a marriage for him, and he doesn't want that. And I you know, and so we have a long discussion of that. A lot of the book on the talk on marriage is about the role of Coretta King in helping to create Martin Luther King. And I said, and I still believe, that I would not have ever amounted to anything if I hadn't married the lady I married. And that you pick a partner in values. And it's good if they happen to be cute, but the important thing is that they be smart and sweet and dedicated.